Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I have been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019. And we are continuing to march through yet another offseason together. As always, you can find our 100% free 24/7 boots on the ground Jacksonville Jaguars coverage every single day on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Today we are going to talk about how the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive and defensive coordinators, Grant Udinski and Anthony Campanile, really both have it the very best of both worlds when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars selection of Travis Hunter. Probably the first time in NFL history where a team takes a player at number 2 overall, let alone a team makes such a massive blockbuster trade for, and both coordinators can probably equally say how happy they are. Now, we've of course heard, from Liam Cohen, from James Gladstone, from the Jaguars, that Travis Hunter is going to play more wide receiver early on than anything else. That he will play on defense as well, but the real focus early on, and they said partially the reason because he's a more natural cornerback, he probably needs a little bit less development there. So it's very clear that, a lot of receiver reps early on. And that's obviously really good news for offense coordinator Grant Udinski, who is an offense coordinator for the first time in his career. I mean, if you're Grant Udinski, think about this. You are now hitching your star to a wagon that has Liam Cohen calling the plays. Yes, it's a small sample size, but he was one of the best 3 to 4 to 5 offensive play callers in football last season. You have Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Yeah, he hasn't become the perennial elite, all-world, all-pro quarterback, but he's a heck of a talented guy. Still has a clear ceiling to hit. You have Brian Thomas Jr. at receiver, an alpha male receiver, a rare number 1 receiver. He obviously had one in Minnesota. He knows what they look like. And now you get Travis Hunter added to the mix. I think Grant Udinski, add in De'Ami Brown in the offseason. Add in now a revamped offensive line that will have anywhere between 2 to 3 new starters all along the interior. Add in remaking the tight end room and finding a backup quarterback with knowledge of the scheme and your coaching. I think Grant Udinski is a big winner of this Jaguars offseason. But with the fact that both coordinators are going to benefit from Travis Hunter now being in the fold, I think Grant Udinski, could absolutely be one of them. If things go as well for the Jaguars offense as they should on paper, if everybody hits their standards and expectations and potentially ceilings, Grant Udinski could easily parlay this opportunity into a different one, bigger one down the road. That's obviously putting, the cart before the horse. But nonetheless, big opportunity for Udinski, who I think will benefit a lot from, just having Travis Hunter now in the fold. The things that does for the Jaguars, just in terms of X's and O's, the mismatches they can create, the ways they can design the passing game to them, the screen game, the way, and we talked about this yesterday, the way he can work off of Brian Thomas Jr. already. I'll tell you what somebody told me during the draft. They were just talking to me about their impressions of the new guys on the staff now that they've been there for a while. I was told Grant Udinski is the last person leaving that building pretty much every night. That Grant Udinski is putting the hours in. He's driven. He's hungry. I think Grant Udinski is really going to benefit from the Travis Hunter selection. In terms of what it can mean for his pure career path, I think Hunter can help Cohen's job as a head coach, help him look good as a head coach. I think he can help Trevor Lawrence's job, make him look good as a quarterback. But just in terms of pure career path and how the addition of a guy like Hunter could impact somebody's long-term future, I think Udinski could be the biggest benefactor. So it'll be fascinating to see how, he partakes in getting Hunter involved on the offense. Of course, he's not calling the offensive plays. That's going to be obviously Liam Cohen. But Udinski is still going to have a very big role in terms of the big picture of the offense, scheming, stuff like that. They have a lot of firepower in terms of offensive brain trust, especially when it comes to the passing game. And seeing what they now dial up with a guy like Hunter and the combination of Hunter and Thomas, I think is going to be fascinating to watch, moving forward. Now, on the other side of the ball, with Coach Camp on defense, you can just watch the draft day phone call that the Jaguars made to Travis Hunter. And you can see probably almost more than anybody. He even said he's more hyped up than anybody. Camp in LA was jacked about that pick. And that's even with, it wasn't a surprise when Liam Cohen said, yeah, he's going to play receiver first. The Jaguars have had a plan in place for Hunter for a long time. They, Cohen basically laid out the plan and expectations for Hunter's role all the way as early as the annual league meetings at the end of March, start April. Probably about 3 to 4 weeks before the draft. So it was absolutely, in my opinion, clear to the entire Jaguars coaching staff, organization, okay, here's how we're going to deploy this kid early on. So Camp knew that when they're drafting him, it's mostly as a receiver, and he still looked absolutely over the moon. I think it makes a lot of sense why. They, more than anything, I think in this new defensive scheme ecosystem under Camp, I think more than anything, they want explosive athletes who can create takeaways. And that's who Hunter is. And even if Hunter's out there for just some packages or maybe a dozen or two snaps on defense a game, he still has the ball skills and the athleticism and the football IQ and instincts to create takeaways, even in limited snaps. So I think both coordinators really win big with it. The Jaguars needed badly to add to the secondary. And even if he's just a part-time player, he was a top 3 worthy level pick as a cornerback. Even if it's for a quarter of the game, that's still a quarter of the game with a, to me, blue chip level cornerback prospect on the field. And considering that was one of the Jaguars' biggest issues last year, the cornerback position, even if he's only there for some time, and maybe Jarian Jones is out there for the times that he's not, on the field. And that way, potentially Jarian Jones doesn't have to play as large of a role as previously predicted, and maybe that even frees him up some. Travis Hunter gives the Jaguars a lot of versatility, a lot of flexibility on both sides of the ball, and I am fascinated to see how they use him. But I think it's very clear that both offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator for the Jaguars really benefit from this move. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and you can find us on YouTube at Sports Videos on SI. Thank you guys for listening. Back next time.